All right, so today we're going to be discussing the closing costs. And again, closing costs, you can just lump into the cost to get a loan. And for a house, they're usually fairly substantial. They include a variety of things. We're just going to lump them all together. Okay, maybe it's $2,000, maybe it's $3,000, maybe it's $2,500, maybe it's a percentage of the value of how much money you're borrowing. But in either case, we're going to have some money we have to pay in order to start the loan. And some of them will seem cheesy, like, copier wear and tear. No, not quite. But I mean something ridiculous like that, all the way out to, an actual valuation of the home. Okay, so a variety of things, but all lumped into closing costs. And again, in today's housing market, it's really hot right now. You will end up paying a lot of those closing costs yourself as a buyer. Okay. And the homeowner will not. When it's a slow market and houses aren't selling, a lot of times the owners, in order to get the thing moving, will offer to pay part or all of the closing costs. Okay. When you go to refinance, often you'll be charged a fee, which you could also quote unquote call a closing cost. Okay. Usually when you're refinancing, it usually doesn't cost as much, because especially if you're doing it with the same bank, they have all the information on hand. They do charge you sometimes a nominal fee. So the deal is, either you pay them up front, and if you do, well, good for you. Let's say it's $2,000. If you paid it up front, don't forget that is part of the cost of the home. Okay? And let's say you put a down payment on the home of, let's say the house costs $240,000 to buy. So you put a down payment of, let's say, $20,000, which means we're borrowing $220,000. So we could find the payment. Oopsie daisy. We could find the payment on that. Okay, and so let's say we're getting 4.5% interest. Okay, 30-year loan. Okay, so that part is no different at all from what we did in class the other day. So we'll bust through it real fast. Okay, all I really want here is the payment. So I am not going to set up the entire sheet. So 0.045 divided by 12. Again, I'm just going to hard code it because I just need to have the answer one time. I have no intention of doing anything further with it, so I'm not going to name a cell. So this house is going to cost me $1,114 a month. Oh, shoot. Give it to me. Times 360 payments plus the down payment plus the closing cost. Ta-da! And there you have it, friends. That house totally would cost you $423,294, $423,294.77, and that's with closing costs paid up front. The other way to do it, of course, is to borrow the closing cost, what we call roll in the closing cost. The idea being is you're just going to borrow them. So again, if the home costs this much and you put down 20 grand, okay, ordinarily you would borrow 220,000. In this case, you would borrow $222,000 from the bank. Okay? This is how much you're borrowing. Well, any idiot can see that. What does that mean? It means that your house payment per month is going to go up. Well, how much? Well, not a lot. So what I would do is come in here and I would change basically how much I'm borrowing, right? Now, of course, that changes the payment, right? Notice it went up $10 a month. Now, in the case of rolled in, that $1,124.84 a month covers that extra $2,000, so that when I do A1 times 360 plus 20 grand, this is the cost of the home now, $424,942, $424,942.90. This is the total cost when they're rolled in. Okay? So what's the difference? Well, the difference is it's going to cost me, the bank is going to charge me $294.77. So for the convenience of not having to write that check for $2,000 up front, it's going to cost me an extra $1,648 over the 30-year life of the loan. Now, again, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to see that, well, if you take that amount, divide it out amongst 360 payments, right? Well, in essence, okay, your payment went up $10 a month. But if you think about it, so for the convenience of not having to write the check up front, okay, the idea is that you're paying an extra $10 a month in payment. But if you figure that out over the life of the loan, you know, that's basically you're saying it costs you an extra $1,600 total, which is roughly an extra $458 a month that you're thinking, well, that's the extra I paid on top of what I would have had to pay anyways. Okay? So, you know, a couple ways to do that. That's kind of the idea, is that it cost you. You still paid the $2,000, but because you borrowed it over 30 years, you ended up paying an extra $1,600 that you wouldn't have had to pay if you'd have paid it up front. But again, most often, a lot of times anyways, we don't have $2,000 sitting around. Okay, this is going to be close to be able to afford this house anyways. So, you know, what the heck? Let's just go ahead and borrow it then.